So I literally just posted a video talking about how you shouldn't be paying super close attention to some of these Galaxy Z Fold 7 rumors. There are a lot of conflicting reports, people saying that there aren't going to be changes, people saying that there are going to be fairly large changes. There are people who, with the Z Fold 6, got a lot of things pretty darn wrong, and they're still being sort of passed around as trusted sources. But there's one individual who, I'll just pull them up on Twitter here, Ross Young, CEO of Display Supply Chain Consultants. Why is that so hard for me to say? Display Supply Chain Consultants. They were quite accurate with the Galaxy Z Fold 6, and they are also talking about the Galaxy Z Fold 7. But in this video, we're not going to be talking about the Galaxy Z Fold 7. We're going to be talking about something else that they mentioned, and then digging a bit deeper because there's actually a brand new patent that has surfaced, and boy is it interesting. We have a series of tweets here where this person said that the Flip 7 and Fold 7 are expected to have no significant hardware changes, and this came from the Elec, which is a South Korean publication that got a whole bunch of stuff wrong about the Fold 6 and the Fold Special Edition. I'll also point out that Ross Young has explicitly said that the Z Fold 7 will basically be the Fold Special Edition, which would mean a wider, larger cover display and a larger inner display. So kind of put that aside. That's what he is saying. But someone said, will there be a Z Fold SE2? Some people believe there is, or is this a different type of foldable? Ross Young responded and said, Tri-Fold in early 2026 is the only other one. Now, this is interesting because as recently as November, Ross was tweeting about how the special edition would be coming back again, and it would be very similar to last year's model. Now he's saying the SE is not coming, but what is coming is a Tri-Fold early 2026. Now, I look at this and I see a situation that is, much like I talked about in that earlier video, very much in flux. Things are moving. Okay, things are planned and then they're not planned, and then they're happening and then they're not happening. And that's why we shouldn't take this stuff super duper seriously. But in the vein of that Tri-Fold device, we have something really, really interesting to look at. We are on patentscope.wipo.int, and what we have is a patent. The international filing date was May the 23rd of 2024, and it was published on January the 2nd of 2025. And what we are looking at here, this is by Samsung, is a very interesting looking 1-2. That's two folds. We call it a Tri-Fold for some reason. That's not a Z Fold, right? That has an additional fold. Let's go over to the drawings because we can really dig into this way. So the first picture I'm going to pull up shows the back of this device. Now, keep in mind, this is a patent, right? So this doesn't mean that when they make the device, it's going to be exactly like this, but it could be. This could be a glimpse into the future, as Ross said, early 2026. But going back to this lovely image, it does look a lot like a Z Fold with an additional fold. The cover display looks to be very similar in terms of the wideness, the aspect ratio, to the current Z Fold 6. The camera layout looks to be very similar to the Z Fold 6, but you do have that extra area. But notice, the camera is in the middle, right? So with the Huawei Tri-Fold device, that's not how it works, right? I think it's all over on one side. Pulling up some images here to make sure that I'm not crazy. Yeah, the camera is all the way over on one side, whereas this is in the middle. So that is a pretty big difference. This view here shows the front and then the edges of the device. One interesting thing is you have what appears to be a speaker grill here and a speaker grill there. Now, what's interesting to me about that is that's exactly how it is on the Z Fold. Both speakers are on the left-hand side, unlike some devices where one speaker's here, one speaker's there. So maybe that would be the same. Here you can see the device fully closed shut. And notice where that camera bump is, because that's in the middle. So it actually is folding on top of itself, not in an accordion manner like we have with the Huawei device, but one goes in and then another one goes in on top of that. Of course, one benefit to that is that when it's fully closed, that foldable screen is completely inside. You don't end up having any foldable screen on the outside. With the Huawei device, your cover display, when it's closed, is still foldable OLED screen, and you have a little bit of edge there that is exposed. With this design, you're only going to have, when it's fully closed, I assume there will be a cover display on this top side, but that would be Gorilla Glass. So this might be a more durable solution. I would assume, looking at this, it's probably also a thicker solution, though. I should quickly say here, though, that it's entirely possible that this thing won't have a cover display. I'm assuming that there would be one, but that is assuming that this is a Z Fold style device in that it's meant to be a phone. It's entirely possible that this is a Galaxy Tab. This is meant to just be a tablet that can go into your pocket or into a bag in a much smaller form factor. So there may not be a cover display like what you just saw, that demo from Samsung Display. Could be very similar to that. Now, one interesting thing about this sort of device with the camera in the middle piece of it, I'm trying to kind of visualize how you could do a sort of laptop mode posture. I guess you could have, one side down, maybe this is on the ground and then this is opened up. So then you have like most of the screen sort of standing up and the camera's just in the middle. If the hinge is strong enough, that should work. Perhaps you could use this side as the piece that actually is like the foot on the ground so that your screen, your external cover display isn't touching the ground. So in that regard, maybe that would be a better tint mode. It might be a little bit tippy though, right? Because this is a lot to be standing up in the air. Remains to be seen how that might work though. I also want to point out, it seems like this is wider than this, and that might just be like a physical limitation, maybe to fold inward twice for this piece to go in and that to go over top of it. Maybe that's just kind of how it has to be. The hinge also looks a little bit different there versus there because it would have to go over the top of it. So there's some interesting engineering going on here. And I'm sure that if I was able to read Korean, that it would probably explain a lot of it in these different diagrams. I'll put a link to the patent scope in the description down below so that if any of you want to actually dig through the full text, you are able to do that. I guess I could copy and paste it into Translate and try and kind of do it myself, but there is a whole heck of a lot there to go through, and I'm happy currently to just look at some drawings and speculate. And speaking of speculating, let's just kind of end the video with that. What if the Z Fold Special Edition goes away, or maybe it just returns to being the W20, whatever, 25, 26 series like it always had been for China only? The Z Fold 7 basically is the special edition. It's got the wider cover display, the bigger screens all around, 200 megapixel camera, and then in 2026, we get this device, this tri-folding device, as the new aspirational high-end special edition style fold. I think that might actually be pretty cool. There's still like one thing that kind of confuses me a bit when he talks about the tri-fold being the only thing coming early 2026. What is the deal with the Q7M code name? If you don't know, basically, we have a code name Q7, which should be the Z Fold 7, but there's another code name, Q7M. What is that device? Because that would be alongside the Fold 7. If the special edition isn't coming, and this is not till 2026, what would that device be? Definitely hard to say, and again, I want to really hammer this home. Early speculation, early rumors. Take it with a pinch of salt. It's fun to talk about, fun to speculate about, but don't start setting aside money maybe just yet. Or maybe you should, because you might need all the time you need to get that money set aside, because this is going to be very, very expensive. Guys, thanks for watching. Subscribe for more content like this, and until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.